People says the calmness of your mind is one of the most precious jewels of your wisdom. Does meditation help us to bring all this calmness of your mind? Is meditation a practice or a theory? How meditation can help us to survive in this challenging world? If all these questions have piled up in your brain and you are searching for the answer, this podcast is for you. After listening to this podcast, you will definitely get some insight about meditation. Today, I have a special guest who is a very fond of reading and he is continuously acquiring knowledge and skills. He is in the marketing team of one of the world's largest FMCGs. Let me welcome in my show Mr. Shabbir Haider, who is a passionate meditator.
Everyone to another episode of ABHIJIT'S Spectacle. Today we have got a special guest, Mr. Shabbir. When I first met Shabbir 1 year back, he inspired me in many aspects. The level of knowledge he has, the level of calmness he has in his mind, and the thoughts he has perceived towards the universe is commendable. And from the very first day, I considered him as my elder brother. And today I am very happy to have you in our show, Mr. Shabbir.
Thank you so much, Abhijit. I think you are very humble. I have learned as much from you, perhaps more than what you would have learned from me. But nonetheless, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and giving your time. Now, very first day when I met you, the first thing that inspired me about you, you're an avid reader. You read a lot, and people find it very boring. Reading is very boring, and it's not a cup of tea for most of the people. So, how did you make this not so interesting topic so much interesting topic for you? Reading.
To give you a very honest answer, for me, it's very difficult to believe that there are, though I know it's a reality, but I find it very difficult to understand there are some people who do not like reading. Because for me, since very early childhood, I mean, ever since I can remember, I always loved reading. So it's almost like a second nature to me. Obviously, when I was very young, I used to read comic books, then all those publications where you have short stories. I used to read Hindi at that point of time. So
Okay.
Nandan, Nanne Samrat, those books. And I was just always fascinated. I mean, I don't know the reason, but now when you tell me that what are the reasons some people do not read, to be very honest, I don't know, uh, because I have not seen the world in any other way. But yes, what keeps me as I grew up. So initially, obviously, reading was mostly about entertainment. I liked this form of entertainment over others because somewhere it gave me the freedom to make my own world in my own mind,
Right.
and I am naturally, I think I can call it a gift. Is I'm very visual in nature. I like to visualize things,
Hmm.
and again, it comes to me very naturally. If you tell me something, I'll instantly start putting a picture of it in my head. So books help me do that. But as I grew, I also came to realize uh, that apart from school books, you have so many other books which can give you such huge variety of very interesting knowledge. And
Exactly.
each time, so there was also a point of time when I just ensured that I will read everything, despite I will not stick to a genre. I will read
Hmm.
fiction, non-fiction, science, spirituality, anything that comes to my hand. If it, I'll read it, and I realized that I was enjoying all of this together. And so slowly, I think as I have grown up, now that I'm 33, uh, in the last 5 6 years, I have moved more towards non-fiction,
Right.
moved more towards trying to figure out what's happening with the world, and also I'm very interested in knowing the future of the world, what's going to happen 100 years, 200 years, 500 years from down the line. So this this question, this curiosity keeps me motivated to read more and more.
Right. Actually, we are on the verge of something that extraordinary changes are going to come, and we are almost here on the verge of it. And that is the reading to know about the outside world, anything this happens outside our surroundings. The readings helps to know about everything like that. Now, now, why did you come to the meditations to know about the inside world, and what was the driving force that leads you to the meditation?
Hmm. I think the first time, and this is years back, when I got intrigued by the idea of meditation, was when I came across this image of a Zen monk.
Mhm.
uh, I somehow found it very unique. That this person very calm and sitting in a very serene environment. I remember it was some picture which I saw, and and then when I found more about it, I saw
Ah,
that they have very simplistic lifestyle, and then also studied about uh, some studies done on these monks, that they are able to thrive in very extreme temperatures, and
ah,
the changes which come through meditation also can be measured through actual scientific instruments. And then slowly I also realized that uh, in almost every religion in the world eventually talks about going inside and calming down your mind, taking control of your mind. I mean, in one line, it's all about you controlling your mind rather than the mind controlling you.
right.
It came across as a very interesting and logical thought process, that yes, if I have my body, then I should be able to control my mind also. And then second level pe you realize that most of the people are not in control of their mind. Even I am
Hmm.
not. I'm just going by the impulses. So, and I think that's where it struck home, that
Right.
if I have a bucket list, if things to
Hmm.
do in my life, one of the things that I definitely should do is be very good in being able to meditate.
Meditate.
And once you learn about it, you also realize that just like any other skill form,
Hmm.
it takes time to learn, because it's not so easy. Because if it was very easy, everybody would be doing it. So there's a particular uh,
Hmm.
process involved, and there are various ways in which you can learn to meditate.
Exactly. That the thing I'll cover. I'll ask you in the later part. But now that what you say that you have visionized someone in a Jin meditation, and somehow you wanted to inculcate all those serenity and
Yeah.
somehow the powers that even scientific instruments can measure. So people have some sort of notions about meditation that you have to be a monk, you have to wear the saffron clothes to be a meditator. But
Yeah,
in reality, I don't think it's the reality. So can you
you are right.
just,
You are right.
huh?
Um, what Siddharth Gautam, who has been branded by the general society into, let's say, a prophet or a god, what he essentially said, that I am a simple teacher, just a simple human being like everyone else of you, and I am teaching the art of meditation, and this can be learned by everyone. I mean, that's the premise of Buddhism, that if you have a household, you have children, you're married, or whatever life circumstances that you are in, you can always learn to meditate, and it will benefit you at each stage of your life.
Mhm.
So it has nothing to do with being a monk, or I mean, that's a choice. It's a life choice. If somebody wants to be a monk, they can. But somebody, let's say, who has a very mainstream job, or who is who runs a family, they can also meditate, and they can also benefit from it as much. So that's what Buddha's message was, that it's a universe. Every human being in the
Hmm.
world should know how to meditate, just like all of us should eat food, all of us should take a bath, all of us should let's say ideally learn how to swim, or
Right.
to ride a bicycle, to ride a car. In the same way, we should know how to meditate. It's as basic as that.
So the purpose of the meditation can be different for the purpose of the different sets of life. So if I ask you that, what do you find that your purpose of the meditation?
Hmm. Um, for me, the purpose of meditation would be, I think, a few. No, I just not one. One is I definitely want to be able to absorb more knowledge,
Right.
uh, understand more complex things, because I am somebody who I always say this about myself, that I'm intelligent enough to realize that I'm not very intelligent.
Exactly. Hmm.
So I know the limitation of my own intelligence. So, for example, let's say when I start reading Einstein's theory of relativity. So I start, and then after some point of time, it all becomes woozy. I don't understand what's happening here. So it's my always been my wish to be able to understand nature in as much depth as possible. And I know that there are limitations to it, but definitely I'll want that today. If I can understand X, tomorrow if I can understand point one more, then it will make me very happy. So one reason for trying to learn meditation is that to
Right.
the more my mind is calm, the more I'll be able to learn new things.
Learn new thing. Yeah.
Second is I definitely want to be free from this cycle of getting too excited or getting too depressed or too happy, too sad. So,
Wow.
and this is something, almost every poet in the world. I remember in school days, there used to be a poem by Tulsidas. It was
Yes.
taken from Ramcharitmanas, and it said you should have some Sital Man. So you should have a
Balance.
constant mind,
Constant. Yes.
right? And this same concept kept getting repeated in most of the other writers or authors who I read. So most of
Hmm.
the enlightened people in the world, they will say that you should have a constant mind. In happiness, you should not be too excited. In sorrow, you should not be too bothered with
Hmm.
despair. Because if you do that, then you become a slave to external environment.
Emotions. Yeah. Right.
You should not be there. So I want to have a more firmer grip on my emotions, on my on my personality, so to say. So these are the two prominent reasons for sure.
Okay. So, I mean, you are actually finding the balance, and meditation helps you to get you through this balance that if the extremes happen, you can be normalized. And it is the factor of the normalization. But in the today's world, I can see in a lot of YouTube videos and other tutorials, people represent the meditation as a form of anxiety and a stress reliever.
Yeah.
Even and even if someone has got that intuition that I'll start practicing meditation and it will resolve my anxiety and stress. So is it a good approach that to stress? To release your stress, you start practicing meditation.
Yeah. So Abhijit, there I'll be very honest on this, that I have very
Yeah,
limited knowledge of meditation practices, uh, the all the theories behind meditation. I have very limited knowledge.
no
It's
problem.
just some time that I started understanding it. But based on what I have learned so far, uh, because meditation is something which helps you um, calm down your or bring a sense of rhythm to your inner mind, your
Mhm.
subconscious mind and your conscious mind, and you slowly start becoming a master of your own thinking process.
Right.
Then for it to cure something like a stress or an anxiety or even uh, not the clinical depression but normal depression.
Normal depression. Yes.
So I think these definitely are byproduct of it. I mean, you can
Mm.
logically derive this
No,
because
even my question will be if someone is going for this agenda that I will cope up with this stress and this. I mean, it's a byproduct that I know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if someone is targeting only these two sectors, will it be a good way
I
of
think so.
meditation?
I think so.
Okay.
For example, in my case, I like to work out, but my intention for working out is not to, let's say, develop a ripped body. My
Right.
intention of working out is to be healthy, to have
Exactly.
a basic toned body, to not have a pot belly, for example. I do not like,
Hmm.
I will never want to have a pot belly. Somehow I don't
Oh.
like it.
Uh-huh.
So, so in the same way, one can go to meditation thinking that they will want to completely take full control of their mind and uh, get connected to their subconscious mind, and try to understand how their subconscious works. Those could be higher goals.
Hmm.
But if somebody has a goal that they just want to be stress free, anxiety free, I think that's a
Hmm.
very very valid reason to try and meditate. Why not?
Nice. Nice.
It's
Okay.
just somebody, if somebody runs for health, somebody runs for a marathon. So same example.
Right. Right. Okay. I completely now understand. Now, as you are started meditating, I think it's more than a year now. So, what
Yeah.
so what kind of difficulties you faced at the very beginning, and how did you consistently focus on your meditation and overcome all those difficulties that everyone is going to face?
Very interesting question, and I think just like every other person, I struggle with it a lot.
Hmm.
So there is this there is this issue with the motivation, because obviously meditation is something. Sometimes just like a workout. Sometimes you feel like working out. Sometimes you feel like doing meditation. There are days when you don't feel like.
Right.
It is those days which define your overall progress, because once you get a slump, then you kind of get into a zone where you kind of lose that momentum.
Right.
So for me, the biggest challenge has been to maintain that momentum. uh,
Hmm.
in the last 1 year, I have seen phases where for an entire month, every day I meditated. Then there
Right.
have been times when there have been weeks where I just could not go back. Even if I'm meditating, I'm realizing I'm not doing it well.
Focus. Yeah, yeah, you're not
Yeah,
focused.
and this, like you are sitting, but you are kind of fidgeting, and you are not really into it.
Hmm.
Whereas if you're not into it, then it doesn't it doesn't count per se. For example, you do a
Exactly.
workout half-heartedly, it's pointless, right?
Hmm.
So for me to figure out how to sustain it,
Hmm.
that has been a big challenge. And to be honest, I have still not overcome it. I mean, in fact,
Hmm.
currently I'm going through a phase where I'm not meditating with as much sincerity as I used to.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm really trying to figure out how to come back to my normal rhythm of meditation.
That's true.
But I think this is something which a struggle which almost all of us go through.
Yeah.
So we should not be too hard on ourselves.
Uh,
But at the same time, there are various techniques, methods. So, for example, I recently came across a technique which, if you'd have seen the comedy Seinfeld, so there is a comedian called Jerry Seinfeld, and he has a method. So what he does
okay.
is he has a board in his house, board or a calendar, I think, where
Uh-huh.
each time let's say he has to do one particular activity. Let's say he wants to exercise. So if he will exercise, he'll put a cross to it on that
Okay.
date. Then next day again he'll put a cross. So for him, it becomes that I have to maintain those crosses. There should not be any gaps, right? So,
Well, I do the same. I didn't know. I didn't know about that story.
okay, small world, I guess. I'm trying to use that method if that works out for me. Because you see that okay, you have done it for 20 days. So
Yeah.
one more day, why not? And that's how you
Exactly.
continue.
Yeah, that's how the
Because
consistency develops. Even I did
yeah.
practice the same thing, and as I was in a shared apartment 1 year, once few months back, so I used to stick those paper on my washroom, so nobody can see it, only I can see it, and yeah, it helped me a lot. But I didn't know that anyone else is also
Yeah, and
practicing.
I just realized, one very unique feature of the human mind is, and it applies to everything, whatever is worth doing, whatever is, really good for you, those are really difficult to do for some reason. And things which are kind of not worth doing, things which are actually harmful for you, those are pleasant. So it's very strange if you think about it.
Right,
I
right.
don't know why our mind has, and I'm very interested in this question, why our mind has developed like this. I have some answers also.
Hmm.
So, for example, we all like consuming unhealthy food. Unhealthy food
Hmm.
is so much more tasty than healthy food. To be very bluntly putting it,
Right,
we
right.
all lying. We all like just lazing around rather than exercising.
Hmm.
Exercising is a little painful to do. So I was just thinking, why is our mind like this? Why is our mind not more excited when we exercise rather than when we are lazing away? So
Hmm.
I know there are answers to it which comes from evolution and evolutionary psychology,
Right.
but I just
Even
wish.
the hormonal, I mean, the roles of the hormone that you can have the happy hormone if you have a good workout session and if you can have a good piece of burger. So I think I think that it's easier to erect all those hormones if you
Hmm,
consume. That's how I think, and I know that you have got good knowledge on it.
hmm, hmm. No, it's one of those things which I'm very curious about, and I hope in my own lifetime I should be able to find some answer to it. And if I can add something to it, that will obviously give me a lot of pleasure. But I don't
Right,
know.
right.
Let's see how it goes.
Okay. So one more thing I want to ask that as a beginner, someone is just willing to meditate but couldn't focus. So what will be your suggestions or what will be your tips to those, that so that they can continue, not stopping in the middle?
Okay. So I will just advise what worked for me, because then I will come from a place of
Exactly.
honesty.
Hmm.
So for a long time, I wanted to meditate. I just could not, in the sense that I will do it for a day or two, then again break away. Then it will be just on and off, on and off. One thing which really worked for me was the fact that I got a friend of mine who was also interested. We both created a WhatsApp group with just the two of us, a group of two people, and we promised to each other that we will do it, and we gave very small goals, that today I'll meditate for 5 minutes, today I'll meditate for even 2 minutes, but I'll do it. So
Mhm.
we did that, and we kept at it. I mean, we every day we used to write to each other that today I have meditated for this many minutes, and we saw that because of the accountability thing, it it helped us. It helped us maintain uh,
Hmm.
some discipline, and slowly when we became used to it, it also became easier to continue.
Right. And then in that occasion, the accountability partner helps you in the form of
Yes,
meditation.
yes, it
Right.
does. It does.
So we all have to have such a friend that they both can be accountable for each other.
Hmm.
Okay. Now I know that you are practicing a certain form of meditation, which is Vipassana. So how this Vipassana meditation actually works?
Hmm. Hmm. So I basically heard about it, found it to be very interesting, and then decided to take an actual course. So
Hmm.
I had to go to the center. So I went to Jaipur Center of Vipassana Meditation, and I stayed there for 10 days.
Yes.
There are some very interesting rules which you have to follow to be able to learn this course. So I mean, one of the rules are that you will be completely away from all forms of communication, mobile, books. You will not write, you will not speak anything for the 10 days you are there. They have a very fixed schedule in which you are supposed to wake up and meditate. So it's largely around 10 hours a day you meditate, and then
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and in I'm not continuously. There are breaks in between,
Okay.
and there's 1 hour of lecture session in between. So you understand the theory behind it, but you are not supposed to talk. The only talk you can do is if you have some questions, you can ask it to the teacher one on one. That's the only conversation you can do in those 10 days. So fundamentally, what if I were to just put it in very layman term, what Vipassana is all about is
Huh.
they teach you two things in Vipassana. And Vipassana, by the way, is the form of meditation which was
Buddha.
rediscovered by Gautam Buddha. So this has existed long time back. So our
Hmm.
and that's what we were told. So I have not actually read it in books and all. We were told during the course that this Vipassana meditation was existed long time back. Our Rishi Munis of the ancient India, or other parts of the world also, they had known about it, but then somehow, because it's an art form, it's a skill, it's a specialized technique, it got lost. Gautam Buddha, during his lifetime, he rediscovered it through a lot of hard work, and then once he rediscovered it, he decided that I should also share it with all the other people.
Hmm.
So he, throughout his lifetime, he taught Vipassana to the students who came to him, and then it started getting passed on to the next generation in the form of teacher student relationship. Now in India, and also it traveled far and wide. You know that Buddhism spread far and wide. So the essential key technique of Buddhism is Vipassana only. I mean, the form of meditation. That's the center of.
Finding the truth. Actually, they are saying the as it is. The finding the.
Idea is to see reality as it is. I'll come to the concept part of it. I'm just telling you right now how it spread. So you know that it went to China, Japan, then across
Across the globe. Yeah.
all of Asia, now across all the globe.
Right.
In India itself, and across the globe, when it went, it changed. So, people added something, subtracted something, basis their cultural nuances. So the core teaching got a little diluted.
Okay.
So but one sect of teachers and students who were in Myanmar, Burma. So from India, it got transferred to Burma through teachers, and there they somehow were able to maintain the exact practice without any dilution.
Okay.
It's what we were told. It's what we were told about the course, that this is the pure form of teaching which Gautam Buddha had shared. And obviously, there is nothing, I'll say, religious about it. There is
Mm-hmm.
nothing spiritual per se about it. When I say spiritual, I mean in the form of those. Uh,
Energy.
I mean, this is something. It's just a form of doing something. It's a technique. Anybody can learn it, be it a Christian or a Muslim or a Hindu. I mean, it is irrespective of religion. You don't need to be a monk to do it. You can be a householder. I mean, anybody, even a child can learn it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just a very basic technique to learn meditation. Now there are two components to it. One is anapana, which basically means ana is breathe in, apana is breathe out. If I hope I'm correct, I hope I didn't get that wrong. I usually do, but it basically means breathing in and breathing out. And by breathing in and breathing out, uh, you sharpen your mind.
Mm.
You sharpen your focus and concentration ability to, because you're normally, when you sit at one place constantly for 10 minutes, you get bored.
Exactly.
So it raises your level of patience, level your determination. And this anapana, this is the first technique. Once you have mastered anapana, so they teach you anapana for 3.5 days. When they
Only to focus on your breathing.
only to focus on a specific part of your nose, on your
No.
nostrils.
Okay.
So when the breath is coming in, you have to notice it.
You have to consciously notice it.
Yeah. And obviously, once you notice it, your mind will start drifting away to other things. So after the
Mm-hmm.
third breath, you will start thinking about your holiday or your family, some movie which you saw. It could be millions and millions of thoughts.
Thoughts, yes.
So the only suggestion they give you is, once your thought starts drifting, do nothing about it. Don't be alarmed. Don't feel bad about it. Don't beat yourself up for it. Moment you realize that your thought has drifted, come back. If you come back in 2 minutes, fine. If you come back in half an hour, fine. If you don't come back in 1 hour, that's also fine. But come back when you can. And slowly you will realize the more you do it, by the third day, most people are able to drift lesser and lesser. So it's not that the drifting will stop. Drifting will be there because that's the nature of the mind. Idea
Right.
is to just come back as fast as you can from the drifting and not punish yourself for it and not feel bad about it. Okay, so once your mind has sharpened thus, so and why they do it, the logic behind it is, if you can focus on your breath, so you'll realize that the breath, there are two very special things about the breath. One, it is constant, it is there throughout, it's very natural. And the second is, even when you are sleeping, you still breathe, right?
Okay.
So your unconscious mind, your conscious mind, breathe surpasses all of that. Breathe is one universal constant for you. So when you focus on your breathe, you're focusing on something which is the most natural thing about you, right?
Exactly.
And also it's a way to go inside your own head, right? So it's one of the tools to focus. Obviously, there are so many other tools in different other techniques. People focus on a bindu, on a point.
Yes, yes.
People can focus on an image, right? Like in temples or in so many churches, people focus on an image of the god. So there are different ways of meditating. Here, the idea is to just focus on the breath. This is one of the techniques, and Vipassana doesn't say other techniques are wrong. No, those are. It's just like you are lifting a dumbbell or you are doing some cycling. There are different ways to exercise. Simple as that. Second and most important thing is, after you have mastered Anapana for 3.5 days, then they teach you Vipassana. So Vipassana means trying to seeing reality as it is, or insight. It also means insight, which basically means trying to see reality beyond the surface truth. Okay. So in Vipassana, what will happen is, so the instruction will change very slightly. So in Anapana, you are focusing here, your nostrils, this one.
Yes.
In Vipassana, they will initially tell you that start focusing from your top of your head forward, and try to feel the sensations that are happening there. Maybe some wind is passing, so it's touching your hair, or there is some sort of a skin may there is something in the form of, let's say, a pleasant or an unpleasant sensation.
Hmm.
uh, होता ना कई बार अब your skin
Right.
suddenly starts, there's some
Irritating.
sensation.
Yes,
It
yes.
could be irritation, it could be uh, just palpitation, it could be pulsation, could be anything. So they will start you to focus from forehead, then slowly one after another you will start focusing on different parts of your body till the feet, and then you come back.
Okay.
That's what you do.
So you're focusing externally, not the internal process that is happening. I mean, the external part, if some winds is blowing,
You're focusing largely on your skin, I'll say.
the skin, yeah. Huh, huh, huh.
But in that skin, what kind of sensations are happening? One is, from external air touching that,
Ah,
and from
right.
internal, because
Internal.
the moment
Mhm.
you focus a little bit, you'll see that this thing starts pulsating. There is a nerve there which is doing this pulsing sensation.
Pulsation, yes.
You'll start feeling that. So
Oh.
from top to bottom, bottom to top, you keep doing it again and
Clo-
again and again.
Closing your eyes. You're just focusing
Your,
on this
your eyes
pulse.
are always closed. In any
Yes.
meditation, your eyes have to be closed, because
Yes.
otherwise you will wander.
Hmm.
So again, you will drift, but again, the idea is to come back, do not drift. And slowly you will realize that, every, I mean, I have not realized it yet, but I've
Hmm.
realized it to some extent. It will take a lot of practice to do it. But
Exactly. Huh.
what the teacher teaches you is that if you become really a master of this, you'll realize that every small part of your body, there's a vibration happening all the time, all the time.
Ah, exactly. Hmm.
And you'll also realize that some of them are pleasant, some of them are not pleasant. You'll also realize that these pleasant and unpleasant sensations are happening because of your interaction with the external environment also.
Hmm.
If somebody has praised you, you'll start feeling good in your body,
Hmm.
pleasant sensations. Somebody has scolded you or done something wrong to you, you'll start having negative sensation in your body. And the interesting thing is, what you will realize is, and that is the core of Vipassana teaching, is all the sensations which happen in your body, it all passes away. It all passes away. It's not permanent.
It's transient. I mean, it has
It's
just
transient. So they have a word for it in Pali. It's called anicca.
anicca.
Anicca. So it is, as you said, uh, transient. It is there now and gone tomorrow, or gone the other moment. So this gives you a very unique perspective to life. That if happiness comes and passes away, if depression and sadness comes and passes away, then why is it that our brain is hung up about it? So if
Wow.
something bad happens, it passes away. Something good happens, it also passes away. You are seeing it in your body. It's a reality you're witnessing. There is no concept. There's no thought. It's not a logical framework. It's a
Ah,
reality you are seeing in your own body. This is reality as it is. That things, बोलते हैं ना, this too shall pass.
that's true. Yes.
That's the truth of nature. So if that is the truth of nature, then why don't you attune yourself to that truth? Why do you get attached to things?
Hmm.
So that's why Buddha used to say that you should practice disattachment, because attachment will only bring you misery in life. It will only bring you sorrow in life. The moment you become disattached, then you will live freely. And when you live freely, you will live a much, much better life, much more involved life, because you are then your mind is like a calm pond,
That's
unlike a stormy ocean. So whenever you're doing something every day, you will approach things with so much more sincerity.
right.
You will be able to help others more, because you are not hung up about your own self. Or
Hmm.
when something bad happens to you, you will not be just too disturbed because of it, because
Right.
this today is
So,
bad, it will get better.
so I
That's
mean,
it.
disattaching, you mean not to crave for anything. Even it can be for the sorrow. The people I saw something like they are like, oh, my life is miserable. I have got nothing to do in my life, and someone is like always on the cloud nine. They are feeling so much happy when some external forces are apprising them. So you want to mean that you have to take all these things in the same way and in a neutral point of view,
Yeah, more or less. In
and
fact,
with practice it develops. It won't
yeah.
happen overnight. Yes.
Two things which we were told during the course, during the lectures. One, and it explains this question. One is, take an example of a time when somebody insulted you. right? You felt very bad.
Hmm.
But they insulted you, felt bad then, and then this event stopped. But normally, what happens with most people is they will keep remembering that memory,
Hmm.
and for next 5 years, 10 years, they will keep getting themselves worked up. You remember it and you feel bad. You remember it, you feel bad. So you're punishing yourself. One event happened, it passed away, but you keep punishing yourself for it.
And you're
So
carrying this negativity as well.
yes, you are.
And
You are carrying.
your bucket is filling all the time.
Yes. Yeah. So you are the only one who is losing if you're doing that.
Right.
So if you can free yourself from this unending cycle of attachment and attachment uh, to good things and the bad things, then you have a more calm life, and then you'll be happy. Because if you look at a child is not, he doesn't care. If you scold him, he'll laugh at you. If you are happy with the kid, then also in the same mood. They don't retain things.
Exactly.
We tend to. Adults, we tend to. It's a mistake that we do. We should also be like a flowing water, that Bruce Lee used to say, right? Be like water, my friend.
Be like water. Yeah,
So
right.
that's what he meant.
Okay.
And the second thing is, and this is, I think, special to Vipassana. They say that you cannot understand and implement this by talking about it at the level of the voice, at the level of mind. By intellectual understanding, you can never integrate it in your life.
You have to practice it.
Yes, you can only do it. For example, you want to build muscles, you have to go and sweat it out. You
Right.
want to build resilience, you want to build disattachment, you have to go and practice it out. You can't do it just by thinking. It cannot happen.
Even someone has got pretty much knowledge about it. If he or she doesn't practice it, it won't give him a result.
And because it's a very practice based thing, that's the beauty of it. It means then that somebody who, let's say, is not highly qualified, he's not a professor or a scientist, they can also learn it. So for example, if you go to a gym, anybody can build a body,
muscle.
right? You just need to do 1 2 3 4 x number of days, and you will build muscle.
Exactly.
Right? You eat certain kind of food, you will build muscle. In the same way, irrespective of who you are, where you are, what your intelligence level is, what your income level is, irrespective of all that thing, if you do those XYZ things, you will be able to arrive at the same result. It's a universal solution.
So instead of focusing the things which are externally, if we can focus on internally, then we can not only, master our body, but we can also master our mind. And that should be the purpose of the life, I guess, for the long run.
So yeah, you put it very nicely. So exercise is to master your body, and meditation is to master your mind.
Right.
Simple.
So that is the 3.5 days you focus on the anapana, then you focus on your body, the sensations.
Then 6.5 days you do Vipassana.
Then rest of the days.
So on the 10th day, when 10 days over, so 3.5 days and 6.5 days, 10 days over. Then on the last day, then you are told that now you can speak, because suddenly if they will release you after 10 days of silence to the world, you will just freak out. So they tell you to speak, so you start speaking to each other, you start sharing experiences, and on the last day they teach you what is called Maitri Bhav, friendliness to the entire world. So you will pray for everybody's well-being, everybody's safety, everybody's enlightenment. So you leave the course with a happy
note.
Happy note that you are doing all of this so that overall the world can be a better place.
Right.
And the only way to make the world a better place, if you yourself are free from your own limitations.
Okay. So my next question will be how this camp helped you. I mean, before entering into this camp and after coming out from this camp, what changes you have observed within you?
So it has been 1.5 months now of me coming back. And obviously when the camp ended, that day I think would be definitely one of the most memorable day of my life. Because first of all, I realized that I felt very accomplished, that I had been able to do something which is, I can definitely say it's difficult.
Of course, yes.
So it's just like, when you get good marks in an exam, you feel a sense of satisfaction. So I felt that, and more than that, I felt this. I I think I felt so peaceful after that. It
Mm.
was just like, my mind was this beautiful garden, and I just thought that if it could be that way all my life, I'll want nothing more. And I
Right.
remember the first time I went to the mess to eat food, and after 10 days it was complete silence.
Right.
And the first time when we went there, and everybody was speaking, my ear was like, it was a micro, it was like a loudspeaker I have playing. I just so much noise that I was not used to it, and my head
Right.
was buzzing with all the noise. And I realized that silence can be so beautiful. You can
Mm.
become completely comfortable in your own silence. Now when I have come back home, I realize that I definitely feel more sensations in my body. Like
Mm.
each time I'm happy, each time I'm not happy, I can feel I can feel a
Right.
sense in my body, which I was not so sensitive to my own body before.
So
And
that so that was one of your purposes, that to observe, to I mean improve your observational power, and it has obviously improved.
but definitely one wrong thing which I've done after coming back is I was supposed to meditate every day,
Right.
practice Vipassana. I haven't done that on a
Oh.
continuous basis, and I
Right.
realized that I should.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing which I wish I had followed, and I wish to. But yes, in terms of observable change in myself, I see that I'm much more uh, connected with my own
True.
inner body, I'll say. I can, each time some event is happening, I'm able to reflect. So I'm a little more reflective now. So
Mm.
between action and reaction, there is definitely a small pause of reflection, and all I want is to make it wider and wider. And obviously,
Mhm.
this will have implication across every sphere of my life, as in my personal life or my professional life. Because once you become a little different as a person, you become a little more patient, more resilient. Then obviously, it starts showing in everything,
Mm.
and it's a very positive thing. So most people will appreciate this change in you, and one person who will appreciate it the most is you yourself.
Right, right, exactly. Nowadays we see that a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of other tutorials who are providing us the tutorials related to meditation.
Hmm.
So, and you went to the camp and you isolated yourself for 10 days. You learned about the Vipassana in too much technicality. So, what do you think? Why one should take a proper guidance into meditation? Someone starts like blindly; they don't know what to do, how to do. So, what is your thought on it? That one should have a proper guidance towards meditation, towards this practice.
Yeah, I think so. In the initial days,
Mm.
just like, again, I'll give the example of a gym. So, if you go to the gym, there are just so many things there. To use it systematically, you should ideally rely on somebody who has prior knowledge, who's an expert. So
Mm.
it becomes easier for you. Otherwise, I'm not saying you can't do gymming on your own, but it will take longer. It will take much
Mm.
longer. Also, you might hurt yourself because you are doing wrong exercises. You are
Mm.
doing exercises which are actually harming your body. So, in the same way, I think initially, definitely, I think absolutely in the beginning, you should practice, take little steps on your own. Then
Mm.
you see that you have gotten some footing. Then you should take professional guidance from a teacher,
Mm.
and that will save a lot of time and effort, and also you will not feel discouraged. So I see a lot of people, they say, I tried meditation, didn't work out, I left it.
Right.
Same for gymming. People start gymming and they completely leave it
Mm.
because they think it's not my cup of tea. Whereas the reality is, see, everybody should be healthy. Everybody has the right to be healthy. Everybody deserves to be healthy, and that health should be physical and mental. So if somebody says exercising is not for me, meditation is not for me, I will say that, I'll just disagree to that. In fact, I think these are universal things. We are supposed to exercise, we are supposed to meditate, just like we are all supposed to eat. So, in short, yes, I mean, you should have a teacher.
Right.
Which school of meditation you will go to, which practice, which technique you want to learn.
Mm.
uh, because I learned Vipassana after a lot of comparison of with other courses, because it appealed to me. So I will recommend because I have personally experienced it and I had a positive
Exactly.
experience.
That's why I asked
Uh,
you.
but other people, I mean, I do not know a lot about other techniques, so I will not be able to comment. But
Mm.
if somebody wants to take Vipassana, I'll highly recommend. It's one of the
Exactly.
best things I did in my life.
Mm. So the people who are now just listening to this podcast, they already have the idea that how to start doing vipassana and anapana at the beginning stage. And if he or she wants to do an advanced meditation and want to take up this course as well, can you guide them that how can they register for this course and what
Okay.
are the
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, sure, sure. So, Vipassana meditation, uh, it is the camps are present across the world. Vipassana
hmm,
centers are present across the world. And there is a website called dhamma.org. One can log in there and then you can go to the nearest center where you are
okay.
living.
Hmm,
And it's a free course in the sense that you're not it's not a fixed cost to this particular course. So there will be a calendar of when the next camp is going to happen. You can just click on it and the window opens up on a slide for a
for a
certain
slight
period.
certain
you
period
can
of time.
you can apply, you can give your basic details and they will get back to you saying whether you have been selected or not, because they have a limited capacity also.
Right.
And once you have been selected, then on the schedule they will give you some specific instruction on what you can bring, what you cannot bring, etc.
Okay.
So on the scheduled day you have to show up there, then you sign up there and then you will be given a room of your own. For me it was an individual room, and I think usually you are given individual rooms, very neat and clean campus environment. You'll be given food there itself. You're not supposed to carry any food with you, and they give you
Mhm.
very simple vegetarian food, but it's tasty. I mean, I never felt one day that what, this is such a bad food. I never felt that. But yes, the timings are fixed. So you are supposed to take your breakfast at 6:30, if I'm not wrong. Then lunch at 11, and your last meal is at 5 p.m. So there are three meals, and
Mm.
this entire setup is run by volunteers. So those people who are serving you food, they're also volunteers. They're not employees. Those people who are helping you wake up at 4 in the morning, they're also volunteers.
Volunteers.
This entire volunteer organization. And once you have done the course, when you come back, you can make whatever donation that you feel like for the
Mm.
course you attended. So it's a
Okay.
donation based course.
Donation based. Okay. So I will also try to put this link on the description so that the people can find and check it out if they want to do the meditations. And now my next questions will be that as we discussed earlier that the world is rapidly changing, and for the teenagers like who are at the age band of 10 to 20, they are going to face a more difficult world now.
Yeah,
I mean, when there
a
will
very
be
different world. Yeah.
a very different world. So, how the meditation practice will help you to accustom all those uncertainties and all those difficulties they are going to face? Is meditation can be a weapon or a tool for
Definitely so.
those?
I mean,
Because
absolutely. In fact,
because people don't focus on that in the early days
mm,
of their life. So,
absolutely,
can
absolutely. And in fact, so Vipassana meditation itself, they do camps for kids also, 8 year onwards, if I'm not wrong. Uh,
okay.
and I think, I mean, I wish when I was a kid I could have learned it. I would have probably done so much better, because
Uh,
if you only do anapana, forget about Vipassana. You just
uh,
do the simple anapana practice.
anapana. Uh,
It's the most simple practice you can do, right? इससे
right.
simple और क्या होगा?
कुछ नहीं हाँ.
If you do it, you see, you will start seeing the difference in your thinking process, in your comprehension process. You'll physically see that difference. You'll be your attention will definitely go up. Your focus will go up. And all I can understand is when it comes to kids in today's time when there is so much distraction, if a technique can teach you to focus, to pay attention and study something deeply, what can be more beneficial for a student?
So and the people or the children of the less than of the 10 years of age, what will be your suggestions for the parents that they can guide their child to the meditation? How can they help to develop in their children the habit of meditation?
See, what I understand is when it comes to children, you should not tell them to do something. You should
Okay.
just teach them by example. So I mean, and that's what I personally am going to do with my own daughter. I
I
mean,
mean, in a form of story.
no. So for example, let's say uh, I want to teach my daughter to work out. Rather
Mm.
than telling her that go and work out, i will
Mm.
i will myself work out, or I'll
Okay.
myself run, and I will want that she should see that my father is running and working out, and then say, because of workout I got this benefit, so why don't you
Mm.
try? I'll leave her the choice. Same way I will meditate, and I will tell my daughter that if it's a good thing, I like it, if you want you can do it. So rather than giving that instruction that you should do
Right.
it, it's good for you, if you're not doing it, it's bad. I don't think children respond to that. Children do not want getting all these orders from elders. They want more of demonstrate something to me, and then I'll choose whether I want to do it or
Mm.
not. So I think parents of young children, if they want to inculcate any good habit, and meditation is one of the good habits, they should just start practicing it themselves, and that's a better way of teaching their children.
Right. Awesome. That's really, I mean, completely agree with you. Now we are just almost at the end of the discussion of the meditation. I almost asked the questions that I had to ask, and
Okay.
I got the answer so clearly. It's crystal clear, and I think the messages you have already conveyed towards the teenagers and the children, and also for the adults, it's
Hmm.
very much helpful. And if they will start practicing, it's better late than never. So
Yeah, absolutely.
without wasting any more time, if they can inculcate these habits, they will obviously see the differences, maybe in not in a very early time, but it will take some time, and gradually it will create some difference. So now we are almost in the end. At the end, I want to ask you one thing, that as an elder brother, what will be your
Yeah.
suggestion for me? I mean, as a what how should I go into my life that
Okay. Okay. So the good part is that you're already doing uh, some of the things which I wish that you did. So you're already on it, and I feel very happy that you take all these initiatives. There is this aura of positivity and this attitude to learn new things about you, which you should never change. So rather than asking you to do new things, I will just ask you that you're doing a few very interesting things. You're making a YouTube channel, you are doing a podcast, you're trying to learn about other people's experiences,
Hmm.
you're trying to improve your speaking skills. I think these are very, very worthy goals. One thing which, let's say, if I were to have a vision about you, is 5 years down the line, I would want to see you as somebody who has made science accessible to a lot of youngsters in the country. And I think you have it in you to do it. You have all the elements in you to make that possible. So let's say, because of you, uh, even 1,000 children can pursue the beautiful sciences of physics, astronomy, or related sciences. Uh, I think that will be something that will make me very happy.
Oh, nice. Even I have got something like that in my vision, and I have already started walking in this path. I don't know what the future leads us, but yeah, definitely I'll try to continue in this path. So thank you. That was the end of the session, and I have already got the answers, and I expected that clarity from you, and I got it. And thank you so much for your time and for your patience. The degree of knowledge you have, it's always appreciable, and I think everyone of who is listening to this podcast will get some benefits. Thank you, Shabbir, for your time and your knowledge.
I should thank you for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. I just enjoyed this conversation so much. Thank you.
Thank you.